Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. This video is going to talk about why $100 silver is coming and why it's coming sooner than expected. This pandemic sped up everything times 10. Regardless if there was a global pandemic, I would still be sitting here making a video talking about silver's potential, why it has so much room to run. But now that there is this global pandemic, it's just going to happen sooner. This video is going to explain a lot. You're going to have to stick around for this whole video because I have so many different points, so much to talk about. So make sure you're staying tuned because you might miss something towards the end. It's going to be a longer video, but that's because that's just how many reasons, that's just how many things are looking to set silver apart from everything else. Copper, palladium, iron ore all broke new record highs. Those are industrial metals. Industrial metals are taking off. You know what hasn't broke the record highs yet? Silver. But silver is an industrial metal. Copper, palladium, iron ore, and even gold, it's like a volcano already erupted, already exploded. Silver, volcano hasn't erupted yet. It's still bubbling. Ticking time bomb waiting to explode. The perfect storm is here. The stars have aligned. And silver's time just hasn't happened, quote unquote, yet because it is more of a monetary metal slash an industrial metal, and the industrial components that are going to set silver off apart from everything else, it gives it a life of its own, is just getting started. So before we jump into this very important video, I got a couple of things I want to say. We just blew past 45,000 subscribers, which means I'm doing another silver giveaway. If you want a chance to get some free silver shipped straight to your front doorstep, then make sure you click subscribe because the entry video is going live tonight. If you're not subscribed, you will not see that entry video. So make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you will instantly get notified when that video goes live for a chance to win some silver. I'm also doing a giveaway at 47,000 and 50,000 subscribers. It's because I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in and being a part of this channel and this movement. You want to stack silver in style? Well, look no further. I started a clothing line for silver stackers called AG47 Apparel. SlayersMerch.com, links in the description. We have all different types of stuff. We have the Dollar is Worthless shirt, which says 39's fine on the back. We have the Greedy hoodie and Greedy t-shirt, where it has the dollar logo going downwards. We have the Skull and Crossbones dollar logo. We got the Got Silver shirt, and on the back it says I do. All different types of colorways, all really clean products. You know, it's just a great way to express your love for precious metals and looking stylish as well. I really like the back of this one because it says priceless on the back with the barcode. You know, everything just looks really good, all clean designs. But anyways, let's jump right back into this interesting video, SlayersMerch.com. I think it's funny when people say that, you know, silver YouTube channels are throwing out crazy silver prices, or the Wall Street silver guys are talking about silver going from $27 to $27,000. These are real articles I've broken down. But the reality is, which I always try to be transparent, is $100 silver is not going to happen tomorrow, not next week, not next month, maybe not even next year. But when I do talk about these numbers, 9 times out of 10, I'm covering an article from someone else predicting that number. Citibank, Saxo Bank, who else? I think it was Bank of America, the Silver Institute themselves, Goldman Sachs, so many other people talking about $50 to $100 silver by the end of this year. I've covered at least 6 or 7 articles from respectable, huge companies that are predicting $50 to $100 silver by the end of 2021. And in those articles, then I'll make a video title talking about that. Is this price real? That's not me saying that. That's me going off of what they're predicting, their forecast. I personally don't think silver will hit even $50 for a while. You want to know why? Because back in 2008, the credit/financial crisis, it took 3 years. $9 silver in 2008, 3 years later led to $50 silver. Same exact scenario is happening this time, $11 silver March 2020, leading to in return, $50 silver. And if you want to go by, if you want to compare, it should be 3 years later. But the pandemic is actually going to speed things up. So it took 3 years back then, credit slash financial crisis, $1 billion stimulus back then, recession slash depression. Nowadays, credit slash financial crisis, recession slash depression, $1 trillion stimulus, and a global pandemic. So it took 3 years back then, 2008, 2011. Nowadays, it might not take 3 years because the severity of things, because how everything's sped up times 10, like I said in the beginning of this video. So it might just take a year and a half. It could be even sooner. It could be longer. When we're looking at $50 silver, we'll go off $50 silver for now, and then we'll talk about $100 silver, because I actually just made a video, I think 2 days ago, where this guy was trying to break down how $200 silver is extremely, extremely relevant in today's times. If you want to talk about crazy silver prices, ladies and gentlemen, we're living in crazy times. If silver was ever going to break past $100 today, this situation we're in, the scenario, these times would be the best chance, the best opportunity, right? Throughout history, if silver was ever going to break new record highs, right now would be the time. Copper, palladium, iron ore, all broke through new record highs recently. You want to know why? They're industrial metals. Silver is also an industrial metal, but it hasn't broke through its all-time high, quote unquote, yet. There's other factors that actually will set silver apart from even those. Silver's taking on a life of its own, away from gold. Gold is a monetary metal. Silver is a monetary metal. Gold isn't an industrial metal, though. Gold doesn't benefit when the economy is doing good. Gold only benefits when the economy is doing bad. When people don't trust banks, people don't trust governments, they go to gold and silver. But silver is also an industrial metal, so it recovers with the economy. Let's look at this first. If you want to talk about high silver prices, we have to see, I like dissecting things. I like breaking them down. I like looking at everything and anything on both sides of the fence. I like looking at the negatives and the positives. I like looking at the whole picture. Transparency is key. The most influential thing in silver right now, or whatever affects the price of silver the most, that has the most pull, would be supply and demand. You can't even debate that. When you're coming from an asset that has intrinsic value, supply and demand is fundamentally the most, that's the most effective way to look at the price of something or where it's headed. The Silver Institute, which I call the holy grail of information, that they're the top dogs. You don't get anything, there's nothing above them, which they also predicted $50 to $100 silver by the end of 2021. Just saying. They went over the numbers. Numbers don't lie. They broke down silver demand, silver production, how much coming out of the ground. They went from historically to futuristic. And I actually covered an article a couple days ago talking about the aftermath of these solar panels, how much waste is going to be. That was a crazy article. They're talking about the aftermath, how much silver is going to be thrown away in these solar panels, because most silver is thrown away, unlike gold that's recycled and re-scrapped and reused. But anyways, that's besides the point. The numbers don't lie. For the last 7 years, silver has been diminishing. Mines have been abandoned. They're abandoning silver mines, focusing on gold, lead, and zinc. And that's because those are more profitable. Silver's a byproduct found by accident. They're not looking for silver, but if they find some silver, they'll take it. So the gold to silver ratio technically is 8 to 1. Technically. And I say that because it's technically 8 to 1, but if you look at the full picture, if you play the tape through, it's actually much smaller. It's 8 to 1, but the gold that gets dug up is going to stay in circulation once it's dug up. The silver that's dug up is going to get thrown away because nobody's scrapping silver. Nobody's going through their grandma's jewelry drawer and scrapping a necklace to get $2.50 at the pawn shop. Nobody is scrapping silver out of laptops, spending hours to only make $1 or $2. No, but they'll scrap gold out of laptops where those hours can make you some good money. So most silver is thrown away, especially since most silver is used in these laptops. Most gold is used for jewelry, coins, bars, necklaces, earrings. So people are always going to scrap and resell and recycle that stuff. Silver is getting harder to find. It's actually more rare than gold. I've covered this in articles as well. When I say something, it's something I've covered from an article. I don't just make stuff up. So supply and demand is extremely important. Mexico, Peru, Chile, some of the biggest silver producers got hit very hard from the pandemic. Their mines were closed down. Even when the mines reopened, very limited workers, right? You had safety precautions. But not only that, they had distribution problems because there's so many border crossings and boundaries, and it was hard to ship it across the world. That's why you saw the U.S. Mint run out of American Eagles last year. They had to make an emergency 1 million mintage from the San Francisco Mint. That's why you saw, the Royal Canadian Mint shut down for almost 3 weeks. That's why you saw silver scarcity. That's why you're seeing $15 premiums on American Eagles, because we're already in the hole. If you wouldn't put in the SLV and all the ETFs and all the contracts, silver sold 100 times over. But when you own an ounce of silver, that's yours. If you own silver on some third-party custodian from some guy's first name you can't even pronounce or spell, silver isn't probably yours. It says it's yours, but if you wanted to turn in that contract, it'd probably be impossible to get. That still isn't really something that is relevant in the grand scheme of things, though. And I mean the grand scheme of things. This is the interesting thing, too. When we're looking at silver prices, that's almost an irrelevant statement. Because we're comparing silver prices to spot price, right? When I say $50 silver, that's 50 American dollars. But American dollars are worthless, right? American dollars are depreciating. The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power. So how are we going to compare real money to fake money's pricing? How are we going to do that? The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power, 44% in the last 20 years. It's getting way worse, throwing out trillions of dollars, which we haven't even talked about stimulus yet, which we'll talk about in a second. But regardless, how are you going to compare the value of something that's real money to off of fake money standards? You can't. That's why I try to say silver spot price is irrelevant. I always say that. Spot price is irrelevant. No matter who says that 1 ounce coin is worth what, that's not the value. The value is the 1 ounce of silver inside of the coin, not the spot price attached to it. And that's why silver is and has been the most real form of money you will ever get. From 5,000 years ago and in 5,000 years from now, silver still will be. You think Bitcoin's going to last 5,000 years? No. The only thing that has and ever will last is gold and silver. And that's a fact. So throwing out, and since we're on the topic of fake money, when you throw out trillions of dollars that you don't have, that has negative effects. That there has to be a consequence. No matter who says, and this is the hardest part because we have to. What are we going to tell all the people that lost jobs? Sorry, we don't have money to give you. Are we just going to, screw them over, let them starve? No, we have to give them the money even though we don't have the money. Yes, they're going to get a nice paycheck, but at what cost? There's going to be a cost to pay. And I'm not saying I'm for or against stimulus. I'm just being realistic that we're already almost $29 trillion in debt. We don't have any more money to throw away, but we are anyways. And that's whether candidate A, B, C, or D won the election. If you wanted to win the election, you had to throw out that stimulus word. But at what cost? If you give that much money out, you have to reprint that money. to make up for it. But when you reprint that money, it weakens the dollar. And we know the dollar index has a direct correlation to gold and silver prices. So when the dollar index goes down from that, we can guarantee higher silver and gold prices. But that won't last because the dollar index goes up and down all the time. We saw it higher the other day, and that's why silver dropped down below $27.50. So the dollar index steadily does decline. It's at like 90 point something right now or whatever. But regardless, if you look at any financial system, any fiat-based system, it's always crashed. It's designed to fail. Our money isn't backed by gold or silver anymore, so it's literally backed by nothing, and we're trying to get ourselves out of debt by replacing it with more debt. That's like trying to pay off a credit card with another credit card. It will not work. It's like trying to dig yourself out of a hole by digging deeper downwards. It's not going to work. If you want a glimpse of where America's headed, look at third world countries where their money is so worthless. They carry their money in trash bags because it takes so many dollar bills to equate to something. It's like a $1 bill in America, a $1 bill, having the purchasing power of like 5 cents. So to buy something at the grocery store for $20, you have to hand over hundreds, if not thousands of these bills. They literally weigh their money on scales at the cash registers because it would be too long to count each and every bill out. That's why you see the Zimbabwe $1 trillion bill. Stuff is real. It's just going to take America a little longer to get there because we're more wealthy. We're richer. You want to know why America is the richest country, though? Because we own the most gold. Interesting. We're determining a country's wealth off of how much gold they have, not how many dollars they have. So you're telling me if you're putting that from a country to country basis, let's break that down from person to person basis. So no matter how much money someone has in their bank account, we're determining their wealth off how much gold they have. I mean, that's what we're doing from country to country. So why wouldn't we do that from person to person? You want to know why? Because they want you pegged to US dollars. They don't want you buying gold and silver. That's a direct threat to the US dollar. Gold and silver is a direct threat to the US dollar because you are in complete control of your wealth. Same as Bitcoin. You are in complete control. They can't control you. It's a power move. If you are in debt, you're a slave to the system. But anyways, let's move on to the gold to silver ratio. Gold to silver ratio is around 68 to 1 right now. Why isn't it 8 to 1? The ratio used to be how much or what's the ratio it comes out of the ground should be what the ratio in price is. And that's what we've seen for thousands of years. Thousands of years, actually, if you want to start from the beginning of time, biblical times, it was 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. 2.5 to 1, the earliest ratio. Back then, silver was magical to them. Magical. Silver could purify water. There was antimicrobial properties in silver that responded like no other elements or metals could. Still till today, that's still true. Colloidal silver, silver nanoparticles, scientists are discovering new ways every day for silver. I just covered an article talking about silver in massive ways that silver is saving lives and could be used more and more in the medical world, which is just another reason silver demand will be going higher. So 2.5 to 1. Then it was 8 to 1. And that's because that's the ratio it came out of the ground. And then we saw 16 to 1, which was the highest it ever was. And that was, 1800s, even early 1900s. Until 1930, something happened. 1930, FDR got in office and changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. Single-handedly devalued silver by himself. That ratio, 75 to 1, had nothing to do with what the ratio was coming out of the ground like previously for the past, 5,000 years. That's scary because now it's not natural. Now it's manipulated. Now it's man-made. And the ratio has never recovered. We've seen it sometimes when $50 silver happens or whatever, or, throughout history. And actually not really. I mean, we just saw it 125 to 1 March 2020. So the gold to silver ratio is 68 to 1 right now. I just shared, a little bit of the history. And I shared how it was 125 to 1 last March. Now it's dropped, which means silver has been dramatically outperforming gold. dramatically outperforming gold. The ratio still has a lot of room to run. And just like these articles are saying, yes, it's dropped almost half, but there's still a lot more room to run. Yes, 68 to 1 is quote unquote, normal in today's times, but if you look at the bigger picture, that's still extremely high. If we put the gold to silver ratio at 16 to 1, that's putting silver at several $100s. And that's more natural than anything else we've seen. Right now, it's still manipulated. But what happens when silver's price doesn't matter what gold's doing? They're used for two completely different things, so why is the price so directly correlated? Silver is taking on a life of its own. And if you don't believe me, then tell me why there's a $15 premium on American Eagles. Tell me why silver is scarce. Tell me why the supply has been diminishing, and tell me why we're going to need more and more and more and more silver, and tell me how we're going to be able to produce that silver when we're already in the hole. Solar panels, electric vehicles, silver lithium ion batteries, 5G towers, you name it, silver is going to be needed. It's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, even light sensitivity, and we're going to need more and more and more of it as we advance in this new digital era. Silver is going to be the most critical thing in the world. It's literally going to make the world go round, but it's becoming harder to find out of the ground, and more people are buying it, taking it off the shelves, and emptying the vaults. So what's going to happen? Low supply, high demand shoots the price up. Why do you think it's called a silver squeeze? Wall Street silver. We haven't even talked about the social media aspect, the speculation aspect. The speculative perspective is, that's cool. The speculative perspective is so dang important that people overlook it. Wall Street silver has 94,000 members. 94,000. They just started in like January, February. Think about, they have 100,000 silverbacks in a couple of months. Think about in a couple of years, there will be hundreds of thousands of people that will all be holding silver, taking it off the shelves, doing silver rates, buying silver on a certain day. You don't think that's going to have an effect on the market? Silver is an extremely small market, especially compared to gold. That's why it's more volatile. That's why I call it gold on steroids. So when money goes into silver or comes out of silver, it's extreme. It's like gold, but on steroids. Higher highs and lower lows. I really don't think we have to worry about the lows, because looking forwards, it's blatantly obvious that silver is going to be headed higher. So let's look at these highs. Not only do we have the industrial sector, like I just talked about, supply and demand, all the reasons we need silver, but then you have individual investors like you and I, everyone trying to get a slice of the silver pie. Everybody is going to be trying to get silver. And then on top of that, then as the price rises, then you have everyone else, the new stackers, the people that have never invested a single dollar in their entire life trying to buy silver. People that will be selling their Bitcoin for silver, trading their stocks for silver. But silver's already scarce. The U.S. Mint sold out of American Eagles last year, and that was when nobody even cared about silver. Think about this stuff, folks. It's getting interesting, and it's going to keep getting more interesting. You think a lot of people don't even realize that this is just the beginning. A lot of people said they missed the boat. If you think $28 for an ounce of silver is too expensive or, too pricey, then you're missing the whole picture. If you think $50 for an ounce of silver is too pricey, you're missing the whole picture. No amount of fiat dollars is worth an ounce of silver, because that means you're looking at the price of silver's value at that point in time. But that point in time is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. That's what the price of silver is right now, but that's going off of the dollar's strength. But we know the dollar's strength is always declining. So yes, it might be worth $28 an ounce right now, but that's not what silver's value is. That's not silver's true value. That's just what we're determining the price is from dollar terms. But the dollar's term is irrelevant because the dollar's worthless. Now, can you kind of get a perspective of why silver has no value compared to US dollars? Now do you see why silver's spot price is irrelevant? Now do you see why paying $28 compared to $29 compared to $30 has no difference? There's no difference. Silver is putting your money in a time capsule. The dollar is like throwing your money in the trash. $20,000 in your bank account will worth, in 15 years, will be worth around $3,000, $4,000 nowadays. $20,000 in gold and silver not only will hold its value, but those coins will appreciate as well. And spot price could appreciate as well. That's if you even want to sell your real money back to fake money, which is a whole nother video concept. But regardless, if you're not protecting your wealth with something like silver or even gold, then you're screwed. You literally are screwed. When we talk about the dollar losing its purchasing power, we're not just throwing out a theory. We're not putting on our tinfoil hats. Numbers don't lie. That's a legit fact. That the dollar is collapsing. We don't just say that to scare people. It's a reality. It's a reality. Look around us. Bitcoin's already replacing the dollar. Now you have FedCoin and all these banks that are trying to get into this new digital crypto world. But gold and silver is the only thing that's going to last at the end of the day. If you can't hold it, you do not own it. And that's a fact. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. This video is pretty long. If you stuck around this long in the video, I love you so much. If you've stuck around this long, I can guarantee you're a very, very, very intelligent stacker, because that means you sat through and listened to this all the way, played the tape literally through, and got as much information as you can. And that just shows a lot of your character and probably how you stack as well. So thank you. If you haven't already liked the video, please like it. Please comment. It helps the video do extremely well. If you want to check out my merch, slayersmerch.com, clothing line for silver stackers, slayersmerch.com. And also make sure you subscribe to enter my 45,000 subscriber silver giveaway. I love you guys so much. I would love to hear what you think about this. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.